Hey, friends! I'm Jesse Fisco.
And I'm Ambry Fisco.
As founders of several successful businesses, we've experienced absolute joy and satisfaction working together to build our empire.
Our journey started off as a small business idea and has launched into a multi-million-dollar portfolio. It would have never been possible had Jesse and I not understood the key principles of making it all work together. But it has not been easy.
We found ourselves in the trenches trying to balance real life with business life while maintaining our strong commitment to creating an amazing marriage.
And we've emerged in a beautiful way together. This podcast was created to help you do what we've done, build an amazing marriage together while maintaining balance between life and business.
So here we are. You're listening to the Matrimonial Merger, a couple's guide to balancing life and business.
Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday, middle of the week. Hope it's been a fantastic one for you.
Hump day!
Oh my gosh. There's a Geico commercial from like years ago, and Jesse just brings that back like all the time.
Every Wednesday.
The Hump Day Geico commercial. You can look that up on YouTube. Okay. How are you, Jesse?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, part of me really wants to record this podcast right now, and part of me really wants to, go to bed right now. Or like go to the gym.
Part of me cares a lot, and another part of me just wants to go to bed. You thought I was going to say something different, didn't you?
I did.
I got her.
Wow.
Got her.
Wow. Well, part of me is like, wants to go get some crumble cookies right now.
Yes, I'd allow that.
And the other part of me just wants to like, drink some, I don't know, like some herbal tea and just relax and just be really comfy.
There's a lot of parts of you, isn't there?
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah.
Is that a subtle introduction to today's?
Subtle? No, it's like blatant. It's like pow right in the kiss of,
So today we are talking about part of me versus part of me. That sounds really odd, doesn't it? Like, what the heck does that even mean?
But what's so funny about that is so many times we say that.
Oh, yeah.
Part of me wants this. Part of me wants that.
Yeah. Part of me really wants to do this, but part of me just doesn't.
Have you guys ever found yourself saying that? You as a listener?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want you all right now in the car to like nod yes.
Yes. I have.
Because
Jesse.
we have. And that is something that's really interesting. And I want you guys to all think about this for a second. Real quick. Is when you're on a boat. And have you ever been on a canoe?
Yes.
Like way back in the day, maybe like a camp, like scouts, whatever the case. Like, I just remember being on a canoe.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd have one person on one side and another person on the other. Mm-hmm. And you had to both row the boat simultaneously to go forward, right?
Yeah.
What happens if one person's rowing backwards and the other one's rowing forward?
Or only one person is rowing on one side.
Right. The
spinning in
freaking
circles.
canoe just spins in circles over and over.
Or you find yourself like veering off to the side and getting stuck under a spider-infested tree. That was like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Anytime we went canoeing, like if I started to go towards one of those trees, you just know there's always spiders in those trees.
There's always
Why?
spiders in that tree. It's
and
true.
I'm like, get me away from these spiders.
So I'm going to propose a question. If one part of you is rowing one direction and the other part of you is rowing another direction, what's going to be your result?
You're going to be spinning.
You're spinning in circles!
Okay, I thought we already answered that.
No, you're spinning in circles.
Wanted to yell it into the microphone.
Mentally, you're spinning in circles. Yes, I am very, very passionate about this because this thought came to my mind at like 3 a.m. And it makes all the sense. You're literally
You got to learn to sleep at 3 a.m., Jesse.
Whew, it must be lonely.
Part of you wants to sleep, part of you wants an epiphany.
Yeah, part of me wants like massive vision at 3 a.m. And the other part of me just wants to go to bed. But anyways, you guys, you're literally spinning in circles. So have you ever felt that way? Like, and I've found myself in the past saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just spinning in circles. My head is literally spinning around and around.
You're not aligned. Once again, I feel like we talk about that a lot.
We always talk about this.
Being aligned is very important.
Wow. I love it. We could end the episode right there.
The end.
The end.
Everyone's like, yeah, we don't have to listen to you guys for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll tune in next week, and this one was a good one.
If we would just cut out all of our random tangents, it would be much less entertaining, but also much shorter.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what? The tangents make it more fun.
Yeah.
But, the problem is too many times we feel like we're spinning in circles, right?
Yep.
Because, like you mentioned, we're out of alignment.
Yeah. So imagine like going to a movie and the screen's like a bit blurry. You would notice that, right?
100%.
You'd probably go like complain about it and be like, hey, like I paid money for this movie. Why is the screen blurry?
Why am I not seeing every part of the rock's muscles? And just like one big rock.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why allow our individual screens, if you will, to be like blurry from what we truly want? Yeah, like you said, you literally feel like you're spinning in circles. And if that's the case, no wonder you can't break through. You're not like breaking through like you want to.
Right. It's like equal match of a tug of war. Equal sides, everyone pulling, nothing happens. Yep. It's interesting. So here's an example. Like to kind of dig deeper, we're gonna really chunk down into this and get a little bit more micro focused on what we're talking about. But like we recently heard someone that we were talking to, they said, part of me wants to be successful, but the other part of me doesn't really mind my current situation. That was okay, cool. And so it's like, well, which one do you want more? Which part of you? Because you know me, I'm all about results. I want like the true answer. So it's like, well, which part of you wants what?
And like for me, I know specifically, I've, in the past had a type of inner conflict like this where it's like part of me like totally wants to make $1 million, change the world, like build this incredible life for my family. But the other part of me, due to, unconscious programs that I, have fixed, the other part of me is like, I don't deserve that. Like that's not, for some reason I just felt like I didn't deserve it, even though I wanted it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just don't deserve it. Well, that's an inner conflict right there. Like,
not just inner conflict, but like inner freaking conflict.
Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like let's emphasize
inner freaking conflict.
Freaking, like it's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's frustrating, like super frustrating, because if you want to make that $1 million and change the world, then like you got to get rid of those other, like those, for one, the programs, but you've got to align that other part of you that's making you feel like you don't deserve it in that case.
Yeah. And what's so interesting? You mentioned those programs, and I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a tiny tangent. Some of these programs aren't even your fault.
No.
Some of these programs have been generations of passed down.
Yep.
And in some cases, you don't even recognize it, but they could be tied back to the Great Depression.
Go listen to the episode titled "No More Family Drama."
Yeah.
One of our first episodes. But yeah, like
that was a good one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should listen to that now. And then come back.
No, or finish this and then go.
Finish and then go. Do something.
Do what you want to do. Yes. Party wants to stay, now party wants to go listen to the other one.
Why don't you have both? Do parts
you can
of
have both.
Do both parts of you.
So that's important. Like you can have both and you can align both, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But right now we're going to keep talking about the problem with not being aligned and the problem with having two parts of you conflicting.
Okay. So I've got a good scenario here. Okay. Like I'm like chomping at the bit, like bouncing in my seat.
At least one time an episode this happens.
I know.
Jesse's like about to jump inside the microphone.
Yeah. Can you hear me yet? Anyways, I want you guys to all imagine you're a waiter or a waitress, right? Regardless of your gender, it doesn't matter. We are here taking someone's order. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I want you to imagine someone and they look at you and you're like, what are you going to have today? And they look at you and they say, well, part of me wants the French fries, but the other part of me wants the salad. Okay. If you're the waiter or waitress, you're looking at them like, okay, so like, which one do you want?
So, like, do you want me to put your fries on your salad?
Right? Like, which one do you want? Or do you want both?
I was going to say, like, if part of you wants the salad and part of you wants the fries, well, you could just order both.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to ask you a question. Like, going back to it.
You don't have to put the fries on your salad. You can just eat them both.
Yeah. Just, I mean, could you imagine just like
Ew.
because you said part of me wants this, part of me wants that. So like half the portions of the fries and the salad, and then just
Mix
made
it together and hand it to you with
Ooh.
some Thousand Island nasty blue cheese dressing or something.
Yeah,
like,
get the blue cheese on. For those that like blue cheese, we still love you, but it's disgusting to me. But anyways, like
so you kind of want the French fries, you kind of want the salad. Well, don't mix them together. Just get both, or decide which one it is that you really want.
Well, and that's the thing, is it could be based off of what you truly, truly want, right? Because maybe this decision is so much easier when you know what you truly want
and
why.
Which decision is aligned with truly your goals and your vision of your future.
Ooh.
So
if you guys stay with us for another 10 minutes, we're going to get into that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So our minds can provide us so many resources and opportunities, but when we're confusing them and limiting ourselves because we're not congruent with ourselves, we're not doing ourselves any favors. So literally your mind is so powerful. Your unconscious mind can unlock so many resources for you. It's mind blowing, but we have to give our minds a clear picture of what we want. And if we're saying like, well, part of me wants this, but part of me wants that. It's like, well, okay, like there's not a clear message there. Or, like we've talked about in previous episodes, like you need to be positive in your request or your, information to your unconscious mind. So like, it's not about what you don't want. It's about what you want. So
I have kind of a doctrinal for those that are religious or those that are familiar with the Bible. Like, I think of Jesus when the blind man comes to Jesus, right? Walks to Jesus the best he can, filling around the room, but he's so focused on what he wants. And then when Jesus asks, do you believe that I can do this? He says, yes.
Yeah.
Right? And I look at that and say, because of his faith in himself, right? And believing it and having a clear picture of what he thought that Jesus could do for him, it unlocked that resource.
You literally believed in a miracle.
Right. And that's what the power your unconscious mind has, is very similar. If you believe in yourself and you believe in the miracle, miracles will happen, right? Yeah. And that's what Ambry's kind of alluding to, is saying like, you have so much power in your mind if you believe that you can achieve that very thing.
Yep.
Like, we've read probably at least 7 books now about how powerful your brain is. And there's been studies where people have been able to heal themselves of a really serious ailment just because they believed that could happen. Yeah.
And they give their body and their mind information that is healing and that is positive, and that, like, oh man, one of our coaches was telling us, I am going to slaughter the details of this, but like, it was common practice a long time ago in certain hospitals in like China, I think, or somewhere. Yeah. Where it was like, if someone was taken in and evaluated and discovered that, they had some kind of ailment or disease or whatever it was, like, let's say grandma goes in, we find out grandma has some kind of illness.
We're not even going to say what kind of illness.
Something that grandma's experiencing something that's not desirable. And they go and they talk to the family and, tell the family what's going on. Here's what's going on. Here's how you can support grandma and help her get better and heal. Well, then they go talk to grandma and they say like, you know what, you're doing really well. Like, add some vitamin C to your diet, but you're doing really well. Your body is healthy. Your body knows how to heal. Like, add some vitamin C to your diet. That'd be really good. Or,
maybe take some medication.
Make sure you eat, 6 servings of vegetables a day, your body, that'd be so good for your body, but you're really healthy. You're doing really well. And the power behind not going and telling grandma, like, you are sick, you are this, you are, because, you're defining her situation. You're literally like telling her body and her mind what it is and what it's doing. So it's going to listen. It's going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm sick then. I'm going to, be sick and I'm going to make myself more sick. And,
I think that specific example, if I remember correctly, grandma literally had like 4 weeks to live. And then she ended up living 6 years.
6 more years. You're right. Yeah. So
it's way cool.
A specific example we heard exactly. Yeah. She technically, like diagnostically, only had 4 weeks to live, but because, they didn't give her a death sentence to her mind, she lived 6 more years because she had no idea that she was sick.
Incredible.
She, ate her vegetables. She added some vitamin C to her diet or whatever it was that they suggested, but her mind wasn't sabotaging her.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating and so powerful to me because our minds are so much more powerful than we, I think, a lot of times realize. Mm-hmm. And because of certain programs and beliefs, we potentially limit ourselves from what we can do. So anyways,
kind of an off tangent. We went down that road, but we wanted to really stress to you guys. The mind is
super powerful. That's
how important it is that once you're incongruent, once your vision is focused and you truly understand what it is you want, things change. Yeah. I think for you and I, when we did a particular exercise and we both walked away and it was we instantly knew what we truly, truly wanted. And that's why this podcast arose. And that's why there's some more exciting things in the pipeline of what we're doing, because now we understand what we truly want.
There are specific ways to make sense of those two parts of you that seem to be conflicting. And that's one of the reasons why we are launching our Emerge coaching program here in just a few months. So drop that little hint in there.
Yeah.
Watch for Emerge coaching. But, this is one of the big reasons why, because aligning and having those tools is so important. Many of us may feel out of focus and, like Jesse said, not 100% congruent with our desires and wants because of those parts of us that are conflicting and keeping us grounded, if you will. And, we need to align ourselves and truly believe that you can receive what you want. And I think what I love is depending on what those parts of you are, for me in certain situations, those parts of me are both very important and both hold very deep meaning and value in my life, and maybe have a lot of underlying experiences and, memories and programs attached to them. And it's you don't have to just ignore one and let go of it and think it's so negative and it's this awful thing. You don't have to do it that way. You can bring those parts together and understand what makes them work together and how they can work together. And, I don't know. I feel like I could share an example, but it's so one of the things that I have had to align in the past, I kind of alluded to part of me feeling I want this amazing level of success and this, these financial goals and all these things. And that's important to me. And that's what I want. And building these experiences and this life for our family and our children. And then the other part of me felt undeserving of that life and that level of reward and fulfillment. And
because it went deep.
It goes deep. It goes very deep. And that's one reason we're really excited about our coaching program, is because we'll be able to really dive into all of that. But here on this podcast, those parts of you can go very deep. I mean, as far as you were maybe 1 year old or 3 year old when you started to instill certain programs in your mind and certain ideas of the world and how it is and should work. And so those parts of you that are conflicting, it's not simple. It's not, it's not oh, here's this, here's that. Let's just get rid of that side. They're deeply ingrained, and there are parts of both of them that work so well together and that can actually create so much beauty and meaning to the way you move forward and the decisions you make. But until you can align them, it just feels like they're conflicting.
Yeah.
So anyways, I know that's a little elusive, but the parts of you that are conflicting can work beautifully together if you create alignment and awareness. So,
and you know what's interesting about that is I remember when we did this exercise and we truly were able to understand, and we did it together, which made it even more really because everyone in this room that was doing this exercise partnered up with someone different, but you and I got to do it together, which was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that, we'll talk about more about our coaching program down the road. But what's interesting is I think that one guy in the room had he's making $100 million a year, and there were still parts of him.
Yeah, everyone has
that he wanted to fix. And just seeing that was eye-opening because it's we have ambitious goals, but $100 million a year is a lot of freaking money. And to see someone there crying, to see someone there putting those parts together was just way cool.
We are all constantly evolving and growing and becoming, and it's so cool. It's so beautiful and fascinating, and every person around us, after we came back from that particular retreat that Jesse's talking about, I remember one of our coaches posted something on Instagram and was like, what if anytime you're talking with someone, you take on the belief that and hopefully I say this in the right way, but you take on the belief that that person is you, they're another version of you, living a different model of the world in a sense, they are living in a different lens of the world, different, perspective. I thought that was so cool because it's how would that change your conversations and the way you truly try to understand another person?
Right.
Anyways.
That's another episode cool. Too. Yes. You guys, there's so many episodes. There's so many episodes. That's what makes this podcast so much fun is because it kind of just dabbles with all these different things that, Ambry and I have spent well over 6 figures in coaching this year. It's been absolutely nuts. But the coaching and the awareness that we've developed is exactly why we're bringing this podcast to you, because there's people
there you
that
go.
can't.
You're going to get bits and pieces of over 6 figures of coaching that we've
high level
that we are
stuff. Right.
have and are immersed in this year.
Right. Plus, we're going to be able to take some of these principles with our Emerge program and create some really cool opportunities for you guys.
Yeah.
That's not a 6-figure coaching program, but that can help you get to making what you guys truly want. Breaking through.
So
anyways.
Okay, so as far as what we can do here and now on this podcast, so to help put you in the right direction, we want to leave you with a few tips and things that you can think about and implement in your life. So first would be, recognize the parts of you in your life that are conflicting. And, you'll probably realize that there's not just 1 or 2 or 3, there's probably a lot, and they'll come up in different situations in different areas in different ways, but recognize those parts and, accept them and express gratitude for both of them. Because even if one of those parts feels limiting or feels like it's holding you back, express gratitude to your mind and your body for trying to protect you. Because in a sense, that part is serving a purpose for you in one way or another. It's serving a purpose.
You are, right?
Yeah. And it's serving you a purpose, even if you're trying to shift and adjust and align. Currently that part is serving a purpose to protect you in some way, whether it's to help you feel safe, to help you feel, whatever.
I'm going to go deep for a second here.
All right.
It's your ancestors and generations of people that have learned, that have created, that have installed certain programs in you for the benefit of you.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
And it's kind of, what you said reminded me of we always hear learn from my mistakes, learn from my mistakes.
Right.
Well, it's one thing to learn from someone's mistakes, but it's another thing if we're literally trying to protect ourselves from those mistakes and actually growing ourselves, because, if we're so afraid of this, imaginary thing called failure, then, we can't once
progress.
Again, break through. You can't get through that to that next level. So
being grateful, right?
Yeah.
For what you have.
Yeah.
And for the thousands of years of experience that you were born into, right? Through your family, and be grateful for that and express gratitude, but also remind yourself that there's other parts of me that wants more.
Yeah.
And so I would say the next thing after you recognize the parts of you that are conflicting, right? You want to create time for the daily mindfulness, whether that's prayer, if you're religious of any nature,
or meditation,
or meditation or journaling, whatever you need to take at least 15 minutes just to think about you.
Yeah.
Right?
Just take time to focus in and create details around what you want. Like praying and meditating, journaling, all those things are so amazing. And to be able to create that intentional view of yourself and what you want.
The joke in our house is I'm going to go meditate, and my meditation looks like I'm literally taking a nap, like I'm laying down with a sleep mask on. But that meditation, I'll come downstairs, and Ambry will attest to this. I'll come downstairs and be different. Yeah. Because I've had that opportunity.
You're aligned.
I'm aligned. I'm back in the saddle. I'm focused, right?
Yeah.
So do something to create awareness and to give yourself a little bit of time. So next thing, when you're making the decision, be mindful of which part of you is presenting itself in the decision that could propel you towards what you want, right? Yeah. If I am saying, man, I want a 6-pack, right? And I'm presented with a cupcake or a steak. Well, obviously the steak is going to be more aligned with the 6-pack, but then that cupcake looks pretty darn good, right? Especially like a nice caramel drizzled chocolate delicious cupcake.
So you're like going to thank yourself for looking out for your sweet tooth, and you know, be like, I don't necessarily need that right now, but thank you.
And I'm just going to say this directed to me, but thank you, Chubby Jessie, for loving so much delicious food and having a very refined palate. But I want a 6-pack. Jessie's going to show up, right? Like those are the types of things you got to be mindful of. And it's kind of a joke, but like realistically, that's what it is. You got to be mindful of which decision it is. Thank the other part of you.
It can go so deep though, because you kind of make that a joke and it sounds funny, but there could be subconsciously like part of you that like that cupcake is a comfort. It's like, maybe growing up, like a cupcake was something, it was attached to something comfort for you or something,
Okay.
I don't know. Like it can go very deep. Like you have to realize that it's not just like, oh, well, why do I want this cupcake if I also want a 6-pack? Like it can, and this is, maybe seems like a simple example, but that cupcake literally could be a program installed to you from like a young age or,
Well, here's a good example. When my parents got divorced, my mom was very, very, she worked her butt off. She was very diligent in taking care of us. We didn't have any money. Like, she was working 50-hour weeks. There were times where we donated money to help pay for bills and different things. Like, we all pooled together. Mm-hmm. But she would take us out to dinner to a restaurant, whether it was like Carl's Jr. or Mom, if you're listening, I don't remember the name of that China place, but
it was a Chinese takeout place.
It was like this janky Chinese takeout place, but like the food tasted amazing because we knew the sacrifices. So,
that was kind of like a reward, a positive thing growing up. It was something that you like looked forward to.
It was. And so now when we got married and we had, what we thought was decent money and not a lot of expenditures, like I wanted to eat out every single night. Like, Panda Express, go to all these places because that was like a reward to me. Yeah. And there was deep, deep meaning behind it. Well, then ultimately eating out like that led to body weight issues, right? Mm-hmm. But now coming congruent with, Jessie, you can have a 6-pack and still go out and eat. Yeah. Right? But aligning those two things. So in the process of understanding that and becoming aligned, I dropped 36 pounds. I still was able to go eat out and get that same sensation at Chick-fil-A, but instead of the crispy chicken sandwich, it was the chicken tenders. But I was still able to enjoy it.
Like, you didn't just detach and like ignore or dismiss that part of you. No. Like, you still have those, you create those same feelings and that same nostalgia and that energy and that joy and that, that memory is there, and it's not, but you can make it so it's not conflicting with what you want now.
Exactly.
You'll laugh at this because, like, when I was younger, growing up, like, there was TV dinners. And what that was like every time we had, like, a family movie night at home, we got to go to the store and everyone got to pick out a TV dinner, which I don't even know if that's, like, a common term or not. But in our house, that's, like, the just the little freezer meals, right?
The
That were
penguin.
like, yeah, like the kid cuisine, the like lean cuisine, whatever, like the freezer meals that have like all the food in it, you microwave it, like those were like the biggest deal. Like we all got to go. I think it like part of it was like I grew up in a family of 6 kids, and so the fact that we all each got to go and pick our own dinner and like it was just, I don't know. I have the best, my mom will laugh probably if she's listening to this, because like I have the best memories about family movie nights and TV dinners. Now I'm going to call my mom tomorrow and tell her about this because she'll love it. But I remember when we were first married, like we'd have, you know, do like a movie night. I'd be like, oh, Jesse, we should go get TV dinners. But then it was like, oh, like we kind of grew out of that. Like I don't like them anymore, really. Like I think for the most part, they're like, to me, they're not that delicious anymore. But in my mind, I have this like memory and this joy and this nostalgia attached to it. So I'm like, oh, we should do that.
Right.
And so even though like what I want and what I desire has changed and evolved, like I can still have that, you know, joy in that memory and recreate it in a new way.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that that's important, because I think it's also important to note that like you don't need to shame or ignore or dismiss this quote unquote part of you that seems to be misaligned or conflicting with the other part of you that you want right now. Like it doesn't need to be negative, and we can reprogram that to make it a beautiful thing. But anyways,
it's very interesting. Like, and I think that's what this program is going to help out with, this Emerge coaching that we're super excited about, because it's going to help you guys align yourselves and become more aware of what your opportunities are. And I think that's the coolest thing. Now, we can't promise a ton of success, but the writing on the wall would be, if you are pretty aligned
there's
with
a chance that
yourself,
you will experience massive growth.
Massive growth.
Or even more growth.
And your relationship may or may not be as like even more amazing
than it is currently.
Than it is currently. That's what's super cool. We can't guarantee that. But if you could see us, we'd be shaking our head.
No, we can't guarantee it. But, you know, if you have the desire and the motivation and all of you have the ability and the capabilities. So,
for sure. But
going back to what Jesse was saying, like, be mindful of which part of you is presenting itself. So when you're trying to decide, like, I really want to invest into, you know, since we've been talking a lot about coaching programs, like this coaching program, or, you know, I'm trying to choose between these 2 cars, one that's good and one that's better, or, you know, buying the food that you really want that's in line with your goals, or whatever it is. Like, be mindful of which part of you is presenting itself, and thank that one part of you for trying to keep you safe and protect you, and then integrate the other part of you that's like, this is what I want, and this is in line with my goals. And
I promise you that as you do that too, and you start working towards the things you want to be aligned with, once again, going back to your unconscious mind, resources and opportunities will open up that you had no idea were possible, because your unconscious mind is now focused on the thing that you truly want.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, crazy example, I want to lose weight. And like, I've been focusing on losing weight for so much and so long that people would look at me, and it was no longer like, oh, let's go get a burger. It was like, oh man, like, I want to eat healthy because Jesse's doing really well. Let's go to a place that wasn't aligned with my stuff.
Your environment starts to align with you.
And it was amazing because like there was one week where I went out 3 times, and I remember coming home and you're like, where'd you eat? I was like, oh, we ate at Zao. I was able to have my chicken and brown rice. We ate at Chipotle, chicken and brown rice. And then we went to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And like that never happens, right? But like it aligned so perfectly well with my goals that the universe started to shift a little bit. And that's what we're talking about, is because you're finally focused and aligned on one specific thing.
Your environment is supporting you. And
your environment's supporting. That's what's amazing. So,
and you're looking for the resources, so they'll flow to you.
Exactly. So, effortlessly.
Really, really cool.
Right.
And, you know, who wouldn't want that?
I want it.
And then, like, I don't know that we, like, necessarily planned on dropping the, you know, subtle or not so subtle hints about our Emerge coaching program that's coming. But, you know, follow these steps that we've shared. But if you want next level alignment, be on the lookout for that launch this
It's coming out October.
fall/winter. October. Well, apparently it's going to have to be October now because you just announced it.
Isn't it interesting too that it's coming out in alignment with the time that people experience the most stress during the holidays? Interesting. I never thought about that, but wow.
I don't know.
Like, you want to talk
It's
about
going to be great. It's going to be
helping
so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to give us the opportunity to feel so much fulfillment in like creating a community and getting to know some of you who, you know, will be involved in this coaching program, and to be able to align ourselves and to create a community and a mastermind of, you know, people who are aligning themselves essentially. Like this, it's going to be so great. We're really excited.
I get so excited because this is totally what you and I have always envisioned.
Yeah.
For those that like really know us, we've always been serving and caring about other people.
We love people. Like
people
is literally like, you know, we do a lot of real estate and we love that. It's great. But like, we really love getting to meet new people, and we love people.
Yeah.
People, all of you. So
we literally have
it's
like 50 people come over to our house we don't even know for cake, you know, once a quarter.
Sometimes, yes. So
like
if you want to do that,
gets crazy.
Send us a message. We'll invite you to our next
Yes.
cake night. But anyway, so the challenge, let's leave you guys with the challenge this week. Notice a time this week where you notice like two parts of you conflicting in a decision or whatever that is, and make note of it. Take time to truly try and understand why these parts are not aligned, and you know, practice some of the tips that we just gave you to try and create better alignment, and you know, see how that changes things for you. And if you have questions or, you know, need any additional clarity or questions about something specific that you're working on aligning, send us a message. We'd love that. So you can reach us on Instagram at Fisco Frenzy. And, Which,
by the way, if you go to Fisco Frenzy, there's a funny video right now of us freaking out over a mouse in our house.
Well, it might be a few reels back, but you'll find it.
Might be a few reels back when you get this episode, but it is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean,
we may or may not have had a mouse in our living room today, and it was quite the experience.
So, anyways, you guys, we appreciate you listening.
Thank you so much.
The Matrimonial Merger, Ambry and Jesse here. We just appreciate you. Most importantly, we do appreciate. There was a review, 2 reviews left on the podcast that really just kind of like gave us that extra oomph to bring it to the next level. This episode.
Yeah.
And we went deeper than we generally go on this episode because we felt that extra ump. So like, leave us a 5-star review, and more importantly, take like 2 minutes to just write like your feelings about this podcast. And if you can do that, that's going to help motivate other people to listen. And it's going to create a bigger community. If we look at it from the huge, like from a big chunked up aspect, which kind of to lead into the next episode, if we look at it from a macros perspective, there are people all over the U.S. that we could create and have a fun community and have relationships that are bigger than what we truly understand.
It's going to be awesome, you guys.
So,
wouldn't you want to be surrounded by people who are all working on growing and emerging and becoming their best self, the best version of their self? Wouldn't you want that?
I'd love that. I also love a friend that has like a house in Florida that we could like fly, that we're aligned with the same things, and like go hang out and have opportunities that way too, because that's what this life is about, is friendships. So leave a 5-star review. Let's grow this community. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Appreciate you listening and being here with us, and we look forward to chatting again next Wednesday.
Bye.
Have an awesome week, everybody. See ya.